Okay, at this point, the war, there was 6 hours left, and this raid, I think, was the start of a massive turning point in the war. But I'll sort of lead in with a bit of a story, which is, I think it was 2 wars ago, I came across a copy of my own base, and we're way in front, so I just did a quick raid on it towards the end of the war, and got 80 or 82%. Without much thinking, and I was like, ooh, I've got a problem with my base. So I pretty much decided then to redesign my base, and I've been looking at air defense and the importance of splash damage, and I realized that my base doesn't use air defense splash damage properly. It uses a lot of techniques but doesn't use that. So I've been looking at redesigning my own base. Given that, thought, it's lasted, my base has lasted since the start of Hounds, so it's lasted 4 months. So I thought I might give it to 1 or 2 people who'd been 3-starred, so I gave it to 1 or 2 people. But what happened is, I think people heard this changing my base, 1 or 2 people were using it, so, and also, given I mentioned that it lasted 4 months without being 3-starred, what happened is a couple of people grabbed it, and suddenly we ended up with 6 people running a base which I was a bit concerned about might have a flaw, and I didn't even know until into the war that 6 people were running it, and so this is actually a exact copy of the base I designed 4 months ago, and been going pretty well, and it turns out that these guys managed to crack it. But firstly, let me take you through the base design, because there's some really good ideas here, and I'll point you to some of the flaws. Okay, so first thing, defending loons. One of the things I think which is important to defending loons is trying to protect your infernos, and making sure your infernos do lots and lots of damage on your balloons before they go down. So you want, so what you do there is, it's exactly like hog raids. Is you build, people talk about hog circles with a perimeter around the base. I think I was the first person to use hog circles way back when. I moved to a thing called what I call inferno circles. Now, so what I do is I circle the defense buildings around the infernos. So you'll see all the defense around the infernos, and therefore, if you had one bunch just pathing around, it would path around the inferno and not actually hit the inferno. So it would work around the base almost in a figure 8. All in range of the inferno, and they would cop heaps and heaps of damage. So that's one technique, is to run defense circles around your infernos. The second thing you need to do is to make sure that balloons or hogs just won't path from one inferno to the other. And the way you do this is, say they manage to bring the balloons in here, they will then path to the whiz tower and then end up on the next perimeter circle on the back end of the base. So you want something where if it hits an inferno, it will go to the side and then path around the edge. Now, the trouble with the routing type defense is there's ways of countering it through the drop and spell timing and all sorts of things like that. So it's never a perfect defense, but it can be pretty effective, and most attackers can't break it. Clan Wars is different. People have got a lot of time to, let's say, planned, and so bases can get cracked that way, but certainly in cut bases, if people were running loons, these things would be very hard to crack. That said, attack strategy evolves as bases evolve, and this is sort of what's happened here. Some other aspects of this base design. So in Clan Wars, you're defending against primarily lava loon or golem lava loon. You're defending against go loon, and you're defending against hogs. So in terms of hog defense, well, having these inferno circles, really helpful for your hog defense. But also you can see I've got space for a double bomb here, double bomb here. Mm-hmm. So if the hogs come in, if the hogs come into the inferno, they're either going to come this way, or they're going to come this way. If they come in this way, when they path out, or they might come in this way. They'll trigger off a double bomb trap. Same this side, trigger up a double bomb trap. Double bomb traps are important way of killing any hog attack. And so I had double bomb trap both sides. The reason I did it both sides of the base is so you can't hybrid one half, trigger off a double bomb, and not have double bombs in the rest of the base. Now, other things about the base, centered CC and pretty much centered queen. Not completely centered, but very close to. That's defending the lure. If you looked at the lure, I don't think anyone ever tried to actually lure on this base. The lure is just too hard. and with the queen there, it's pretty well protected. Now, you know, on the queen side of the base, you notice some more things about this base. The walls look really ugly. Well, why have I done that? Because I don't want people to copy the base, and the uglier it looks, the less likely it is to get copied. Turns out they didn't. After 4 months, eventually people copy it, but I didn't get copied for a long time. Next thing, the queen. You'll notice it's a bit less pocketed on this side than this side. I heavily pocketed the queen side because I figure if people are going to have a crack at the queen, I want them working through a really heavily walled part of the base, and so it's really hard work and you're not going to get a lot of value. So for your queen. So the idea was maybe people that hit this side try and go for those 2 ADs. Pretty hard to get to the queen. It actually turns out that it is doable, but pretty hard to get to the queen if you go from this side. But people typically attack the queen side, and then they're coming through a really heavily walled area. Really hard work, won't get as much value for their hybrid part of the raid. So these are just some of the techniques. More of the techniques in terms of the black bombs. So I made sure I had black bombs next to each of the ADs. Idea there is the faster you kill your hound, the better. Because what you want to do is expose the loons. So the purpose of the black bombs is to go off and destroy or put a lot of damage on the lava hounds early. I also had a look. I actually designed this base without walls and put in the walls later. You can probably tell that. In terms of if you look at the actual ranging, so there's heaps of buildings. Ranging on each of the air defences, including each of the air defences has another air defence on it. So if a hound comes through, the hound's not going to last very long because it will get fire from the Inferno, a Telsa, a Whiz Tower, Whiz Tower, Archer Tower, Bow, another AD, cops and black bombs. So you know they're under really heavy fire. And because of that, they're not going to last very long, and so that opens up the balloons earlier. So there's like some of the things around the base. Probably more things I can think. Actually, the other thing, so skeletons. You try and place your skeletons to protect your queen, all sorts of things like that. But anyway, that's the base. It lasted about 4 months. Pretty good. But again, it seemed to. I almost restarted it off of just a quick hit without any thinking, and that had me a bit nervous, and I was using 3 columns, 2 hounds, and I think 20 balloons when I did that raid. Now, what are the problems with this base? Well, the first thing is, and I'm harping around on this in a lot of videos, is it doesn't use air splash damage properly. Of course, with that AD placement, you'll find that I can't use my red bombs; they'll be useless. So what I've done is I've spread a couple of red bombs around the base in the hope that maybe I'll score a red bomb on a bunch of balloons. That hasn't on the opposite side to where the hounds have hit. The second thing is you've got the ADs in Whiz Tower range here, so that pretty much neutralises that Whiz Tower. Same here. Probably not here, but for the most part the ADs are in Whiz Tower range, so that's going to neutralise the Whiz Towers for the most part. So and that's where, looking at this base, I've been thinking, I think that's the weakness of this base. It doesn't use air splash damage, and most of the bases don't right now, and that's why I've been looking at redesigning it. Hadn't plonked in a new design yet because it's turning out to be pretty hard to design a base where you get air splash damage and reasonable placement of your ADs and your Infernos and the rest of it. So this is the base been running. Now let's look at the first attempt to 3-star it. So what they've done here, coming from the north, this is the natural thing, and they managed to do pretty well here. And this is actually what happened when I got 80 or 82 on my base. I attack from this side, not that side, where it's really hard work, and put in the golems here, and you take out the 2 ADs, you get your Inferno, and you can actually, the queen comes across, and you actually get the queen. So that was a problem I was having there. Centered queen, you can actually get it almost from all angles on the base, even though you've got to get past your town hall. So let's have a look. So minute 16, clearing out the base, clear out 1 AD, Kings jumped in, triggered some skeletons, some distraction troops, taking out the town hall. King's still going, but I've still got the Infernos there. Lost both ADs. Queen's not under much fire at this point. It's taken out most of the defences. Takes out the Gold Store. Level 40 Queen. Lasts quite a while. Takes out Telstar. Might even take out the Wiz Tower. Yeah, it takes out the Wiz Tower. So you can see that the Inferno is pretty well protected, but somehow with 2 Golems and the King managed to actually knock that out. And so you're talking at this point of the raid, locked out a heck of a lot of the base. So now this is another thing, a feature of the defence now. So what they've done here, drop 2 lavas and they drop a 3rd lava here, and they drop all of their balloons with the intention of coming through now. Given they're hitting this base with 2 rages and a heal, let's just guess that they think they can get through the base this way. The reason why it doesn't fall, and maybe it does fall sometimes, but the reason why it doesn't fall is have a look at the how well this Inferno is protected, what it's defending. It's got 1 defense, 2 defense, 3 defenses, 4 defenses, 5, 6 in range. So you've got to work through a lot of defense buildings before you actually get to the Inferno, and so that puts a lot of damage on the balloons before they get there, and that's why this particular raid seems to fall over. So 2 hounds, run them across. So they've done that, draws the red bomb, and takes a black bomb, another black bomb, another red bomb. So it's already lost 1 lava, and you can see the heavy defense on these things. You'll notice the lavas pop very quickly, because I'll actually go through 3 lavas and there's still a ton of balloons left through really heavy defense of the really heavy attack on the lavas with this design. You can see the loons here coming in, but they've taken a lot of damage because they've had to work through a lot of defense buildings and under the Tesla fire, and the Inferno doesn't go down by that time the raid's done, and so the person ends up surrendering because they've got 2 spells left, but there's just too much left, they're gone. So that's an example of the theory of the base, and also an example of it working.